guys, today we are going to do section 4.5 quadratic equations. So you will be able to solve a quadratic equation by factoring and by graphing. So our big idea, to find the zeros of a quadratic function, y is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c, we are going to solve the related quadratic equation. 0 is equal to ax squared plus bx plus c. So the reason we set our quadratic equation equal to 0 is because we want to find the zeros of the function, which is the value for x in which our function equals 0. So we want to find our x values that make our function equal 0. The zeros of our function is also where we cross our x-axis, and these are the solutions to our quadratic equation. The way we can do this is by using the zero product property. And the zero product property tells us if we have a product, A times B, and it is set equal to 0, then we know that A equals 0 or B equals 0. We know this because if A is 0, no matter what B is, 0 times B will always be equal to 0. And vice versa. If B is equal to 0, A times 0 is equal to 0. So we can use the zero product property when we're solving a quadratic equation by factoring. So we're going to have our quadratic equation in standard form equal to 0, and we are going to factor. X squared minus 5x plus 6 is equal to 0. Going to triangle, 6, negative 5, negative 2, and negative 3 are my special numbers. So I have x minus 2 times x minus 3 equals 0. Now I have something times something else equals 0, and this is where the zero product property comes in. And I'm going to set each factor equal to 0. So x minus 2 can be equal to 0, and x minus 3 can be equal to 0. So I'm going to solve for x. So now I have two solutions to this quadratic equation. X can be equal to 2, or x can be equal to 3. We can also solve a quadratic equation by graphing. So we can either graph on our calculator, or we can graph by hand. If we're going to graph on a calculator, we want to put this into standard form. So we have 2x squared plus 7x minus 15 is equal to 0. And I would put that part of my equation in the y equals. Just as you see on this first screen, y1 is equal to 2x squared plus 7x minus 15. We then press graph on the top of our calculator, and we want to know where our graph is crossing our x-axis, because that is where our solutions are. So we would go use our calc function, so we would press second trace, and we would use option number 2, which says 0. When you do this in your calculator, you're going to have the option where you have to go left bound and right bound. So once again, you're going to first click left bound of your 0, right bound of your 0, to then press enter again to find the value of your first 0 to be negative 5 and your second 0 to be 1.5. So your solutions to this quadratic equation would be x equals -5 and x equals 1.5. A real quick summary before you guys go and try on your own. We need to remember that our solutions also known as zeros is where we cross the x-axis. If that's where we're crossing the x-axis, this is where y is equal to 0. So that's why we're setting our equation equal to 0. Once your equation is set equal to 0, you can Sorry about that. Once you set your equation equal to 0, we can factor and set each factor equal to 0 to solve for x. Then our x values would be our solution to the quadratic. If we were looking at a graph, our solutions is where we cross our x-axis. So go ahead and try these problems on your own. Good job.